Well, thanks to the tireless efforts of a group of hardened patriots called the Democratic Socialists of America, New York City can breathe easy, knowing that they've been saved from the latest invasion of Nazis. These proud patriots managed somehow, as a group, to turn back a lone, gay, quarter Jewish homosexual who's married to a black man, and have thus prevented the spread of fascism in the greatest city in the center of the world. That's a true story from New York, ladies and gentlemen, where a group of people who call themselves the Democratic Socialists of America basically shouted Milo Yiannopoulos and a friend out of it's a regular restaurant where he wanted to get a bite to eat, I guess. Milo said he thought that his life was in danger and that it was about to get ugly. I don't actually doubt that one little bit. I don't know how he does what he does. But I'm going to show you a little bit of video, and I want you to look at the quality of the soy boys that make up, and soy girls that make up the Socialist Democratic Society of America, or whatever the hell they call themselves.
Nazi scum, get out! 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 Nazi scum, get out!
Bye! 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 Hey, hey! Go home!
So as you can see, the country's safe in the hands of these brave, proud patriots. I just, sometimes it seems to me that this entire country is facing the same fate that befell the Ghostbusters, where it's like you must name your destroyer, and just on a flash, the first thing that came into my head was Pajama Boy, and now this 300-foot tall, soft, pasty, smug, painfully ignorant, fascist-laden group of imbecilic criminals is basically destroying this country faster than we can keep track of it. So, Scott, you must certainly feel reassured that the Nazi threat of Milo Yiannopoulos has been turned away by these proud and brave Americans who risked nothing in order to achieve this stand against Nazism through the most transparently fascist tactics that I've seen in almost a week.
Well, it seems like verbal harassment and chasing people out of the public square is the new free speech. I mean, this is what they see as free speech. They don't think that they did anything wrong. I guarantee you that these people think that they behaved, even though they're, probably don't really believe in the U.S. Constitution, but I think they probably believe they behaved in a totally American manner. Because what should you do when you come across a fascist? Well, of course, you should run him out of the public square. And by expressing yourself with your voice, you have exercised that great freedom of speech that allows you to do such things. There's no responsibility for that. If he had fled from the restaurant and been injured by slipping or falling or stepping in front of a taxi, of course, there would be no accountability for that. If he had stayed there and gotten roughed up, didn't he have that? Would have been
his fault.
Yeah, didn't he have that coming? I mean, certainly you can't expect a guy who goes around and gives college lectures about, essentially what it's like to be a homosexual conservative, political conservative, to have the freedom to just say whatever he wants, whenever he wants, or for that matter, to enjoy an aperitif and an hors d'oeuvre in an ordinary restaurant. This is beyond parody. I can't imagine having a sane conversation with any of the people who did this. What do they say? What do they actually do? They went home and bragged about that. I guarantee you. I guarantee you they tweeted that out and they Snapchatted it and they Instagrammed it and they
saw the video.
They put it all over the place, not because they were ashamed of their behavior, but because they thought they had done something good for the cause. Wow.
Well, Steve, looking at this, here's what I can tell you. It seems to me that the Democratic Socialists of America have made it unsafe for gay people, unsafe for Jews, and unsafe for people who have black husbands to be in the city of New York. That's the way I look at it. New York City is now the kind of place where a gay man or a man who happens to be married to a black man or a man who happens to be a quarter Jewish is run out of establishments due to mob mentality. That's what I saw in the video. What did you see?
That's what I saw in the video too. But let's talk about Democratic Socialists for just a moment, shall we? There is no more democratic socialist state in the world right now than Venezuela. They voted it in again and again and again for almost 20 years now. I think Chavez was first elected in 1999. And Dave Burge nailed it best the first time Chavez didn't die when he tweeted that cancer loses brave battle with Hugo Chavez. Fortunately, the cancer came back. And then it came back again in the form of Maduro, which is just, you know, Chavez more. And this is the worst run country in the Western Hemisphere, and it's not even close for second place. They make Cuba look good. The most energy-rich country in the world is importing oil to mix with their own oil that they then sell for $0. They're importing oil at $80 to $90 a barrel to mix with their heavier crude that they then sell to their own people for virtually nothing. And so, of course, the country's going broke. The smart people have all left or are trying to leave. I read a story just this morning, I put this up on Instapundit, about the children who have been forced to flee to a border town in Colombia. And these kids, there is no services for them. There's no school for them. They're being exploited by local gangs and criminals, and that is a socialist education, Bill. You have to flee your own country with nothing on your back. You don't flee with the things on your back. You flee with nothing on your back. There's nothing left. There are no dogs or cats left in the country. This is democratic socialism in action. And so, of course, they have to stifle any and all dissent because the reality of democratic socialism is poverty and death and destitution.
You know, I was in Minnesota just a couple days ago, speaking to a group of what I consider to be the best people in the world, Midwesterners generally. This is simply the nicest, kindest, smartest, most decent people in the world. I was trying to explain to them what they're up against. I'm trying to explain to them what these progressives and these social justice warriors and people like the Democratic Socialists of America are like, because they're not the best people in the world. They're miserable, fascist, totalitarian thugs who are terrified of getting their socks wet. And what does that say about us, you know? What does it say about us as a country? That we are allowing this entire thing to come apart, not at the hands of jackbooted thugs who fought in World War I and to whom life and death were meaningless, people with brass knuckles and machine guns. We're not losing it to brass knuckles and machine guns. We're not losing the country to Cheka slugs with, you know, black trench coats and semi-automatic pistols in the back of their heads. We're not losing it to Chinese army waves. We're not losing it to any of this stuff. We're losing it to these fat, lazy, stupid, weakling, fascist pimps. What does that say about us? You know, what does it say about us? I took a look at this. When I'd heard the story about Milo, the crowd sounded intimidating, and I'm sure it was intimidating to be there. But looking at the video, I just wanted to look at this crowd of, you know, butterballs and say, well, which one of you is going to make me leave this place, you miserable, low-life commie bastards? Who wants to start this ejection? And I suspect that if more people did that, we would find what we find when a few people do that. When some of these Antifa cowards do run up against somebody like the Proud Boys or veterans who actually fought in wars, who are at Donald Trump rallies and maybe not so determined to be pushed out of the way by these weakling cowards. What happens is when somebody stands up to them, they run for the hills and cry. and we should be doing a little bit more of that. It's not my line. I don't know who said it. Undoubtedly, I'll be blamed for it. But the fact is, I do agree with whoever it once said that the problem with America is not enough people are getting punched in the face. and I say that not because I'm in favor of aggressively punching people in the face. I say that because it's about time we started defending ourselves against these fascist totalitarians who are in fact the fascists, because I don't see us shutting down their events, and I don't see us shouting them out of venues, and I don't see us burning down, commie headquarters every time, Noam Chomsky or Janine Garofalo shows up for a speech. I know who the fascists are, and when we decide to start pushing back against them, maybe they'll cry and go away. I don't know. It doesn't look like we're ever going to get that chance. I do not know what's happening here, but I don't like it. That'll do it for this week's Right Angle, made possible by the members at BillWhittle.com. I'm Bill Whittle with Steve Green and Scott Out. We'll see you next week.